Delighted to welcome Government Minister, Nuclear Minister Andrew Bowie to the show. Good morning to you.
Morning, Julia.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Announcement today of a nuclear revival to move towards energy independence. What are you announcing?
Absolutely. Today we're launching Great British Nuclear, and we're beginning our competition to select small modular reactor technologies to invest here in the United Kingdom. It really is a revival of our nuclear programme here in the UK. We were one of the first ever nuclear nations, but frankly we've taken our foot off the pedal for the last 30 years. So today we're reinvesting, we're reinvigorating, we're adding a sense of excitement, and we're looking to bring new technologies to the United Kingdom so we can drive towards our net zero goals and indeed become more energy secure.
Well,
and
I'm certainly very excited at the prospect of us actually being able to keep the lights on. I'm old-fashioned like that in the 21st century in a first world country. You're saying, getting excited about it, but I mean, you did take your foot off the pedal for quite a long time. Were you seeing the actually nuclear power stations being closed down? This should have been done 13 years ago when the Tories first came to power, shouldn't it?
Well, look, we'll take no lectures from the Labour Party on nuclear power.
I'm not a member of the Labour Party.
Every single nuclear reactor brought on stream in this country was delivered under a Conservative government. It will be the case as we move forward. Hinkley Point C, Sizewell C and other projects, and indeed the small modular reactor programmes. However, you are right. Governments of every colour have underinvested in nuclear for the last 30 years, which is why we're so excited to be announcing GBN today, which is why we're going to be moving forward so quickly and with such ambition to ensure that 24 gigawatts of power, that's about a quarter of all the UK's electricity, can be delivered by nuclear by 2050.
OK. Now, you're Nuclear Networks Minister, as part of the, as you mentioned, the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero. I'm very confused. Yeah. Is it energy security or is it net zero? Because you can't have both.
You can have both. In fact, they are completely interlinked. Absolutely. The reason that so many people this winter were paying exorbitant energy bills, the reason that the government had to step in and pay half of everybody's energy bills in this country was because we are so reliant on gas and fossil fuels for our energy baseload. If we are able to decarbonise, move away from that, become more energy secure, and of course a huge part of that is nuclear, then we will reduce our carbon emissions and become more energy secure and independent, becoming less reliant on people like Vladimir Putin and his ilk, and indeed creating the jobs of the future here in the UK.
OK, right, but we can't rely just on nuclear for that, or certainly not renewables. We know we can't rely on renewables. You need to have the backup nuclear plants and gas storage facilities. Tories, of course, closed down a major gas storage facility. We still need gas. We still need fossil fuels. You know that. Everyone who knows anything about this topic still knows that. So nuclear, I'm all for these nuclear reactors. Big thumbs up. Should have happened sooner. Glad it's happening now. We'll see how long it takes, because these things tend to take rather more years than they should do in this country. But we're still not going to have energy security if we are relying on wind and solar, paying for that and paying for the backup costs of having the reliable fossil fuels and nuclear behind them. Wouldn't it just make more sense just not to rely on sun and wind?
Look, we're going to invest in a wide energy mix, Julia.
Why don't we just have a reliable energy mix?
Our oil and gas sector. Well, reliable, variable, a mix
variable's
of all
not reliable. That's the whole point. You have to have the backup. That's the whole point. Why would we not just spend our money on reliable fuel?
Well, we are. That's why we're investing in nuclear. That's why we're investing in offshore wind, hydrogen, CCUS, and also why we're continuing to invest in our Great British offshore oil and gas industry moving forward. We are continuing to support that industry by issuing new licences, by continuing to explore, by continuing to employ British people, getting British oil and gas out of British waters. Far better to do that than relying on imports from Russia or other more unreliable countries around the world.
Well, I'm certainly in favour of that, and again, should have been doing more of that along the way. Let me also ask you about migrants. Big issue at the moment. We had the illegal migrant bill, went through the House of Commons and House of Lords last night. Last bit of a ping-pong going on so that the elected MPs in the House of Commons, elected government, get to actually have the final say, not the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, and his other bleeding heart Liberals. But we also saw the arrival of the Bibi Stockholm, this migrant barge that is going to... It's arrived in Portland Harbour in Dorset. It's going to house 500 migrants. Given that roughly 500 migrants in the summer arrive every single day, that's not really going to deal with the problem, is it?
Look, the Home Office is working hard across the country to house illegal migrants who come to this country, but you're absolutely right. You know, communities shouldn't have to put up with the disruption caused by barges off the coastline or by hotel spaces being taken up. That's why so delighted that last night, at last, the House of Lords saw fit to allow the elected chamber in the House of Commons to have our say and get the illegal migration bill onto the statute book. That's why we're so committed to ensuring that the Rwanda plan goes ahead, because we want to end the vicious and pernicious trade in human life. We want to stop illegal migrants from coming to this country in the first place, and we want to move to a place where we aren't needing to put barges off the coast of Portland. We aren't needing to put people in hotels across this country, so we can free up the space in the asylum system to deal with genuine asylum claims and refugees who are fleeing from war zones or areas of strife in the world to this country.
The legislation,
of course, we will always remain open to them.
This legislation, and indeed this barge and other barges, that's not actually going to deal with any of this. None of that is going to deal with the backlog, the scale of the backlog we've got right now. So what are you going to do about that? If you've got this many people arriving every single day, how are you going to deal with it?
Well, that's why we want to stop these people arriving. That's why we've got the illegal migration bill.
But how is that going to stop people arriving?
We are pressing forward with our Rwanda plan, because it will create a deterrent, Julia, because people will know that Britain is not a soft touch.
Wait a minute, 500 people arrive a day. You might end up on a barge or in a four-star hotel, and you've got about a 1 in a million chance of being sent to Rwanda at some point in the next few years. How is that a deterrent, with all due respect?
Because we now have a legal duty on this government to remove people who come to this country illegally. This is one of the most stringent illegal migration laws in Europe. The rest of Europe are looking to us to make this work, because the whole continent is dealing with huge problems regarding illegal migration. We are determined to get this on the statute book. We're determined to make it work. We're determined to get our Rwanda plan off the ground, both literally and figuratively. And we're determined to stop the vicious and pernicious trade in human life going on in the Channel. If we do that, then we will no longer have to rely on barges off of Portland or hotels across the country, and then we can move to a place where the asylum system is freed up to deal with genuine asylum cases, for which this country takes very seriously.
Can I ask you about by-elections, 3 by-elections on Thursday, without mentioning any candidates by name, get us into a whole heap of legal trouble. Look, we've got 2 of the seats, got more than 20,000 majorities. They should be safe Tory seats at the next general election. It's looking like the Tories could lose all 3, including Boris Johnson's old seat in Uxbridge. If that is the case, bearing in mind that Tiverton and Homerton by-election precipitated Boris Johnson's downfall, among other things, last summer, if we see 3 by-elections being lost, including 2 very safe seats, will that spell the end for Rishi Sunak's premiership?
Now, firstly, I'm not going to get drawn into speculation about what might or might not happen on Thursday. There are still 2 days left in the by-election campaigns. Polls don't close until 10 p.m. on Thursday evening. We've got 3 fantastic Conservative candidates running for election. I would urge everybody to judge them on their record and what they're going to do for their communities when they go to the ballot box on Thursday.
Other candidates are available.
I've been campaigning. Other candidates are available, but I would urge people to look squarely at the Conservative candidates.
All right,
for
stop.
people that they
You're going
want
to get me into Ofcom trouble
in Parliament.
But if Rishi Sunak can't keep 2 of the safest seats in the country, is he the man you want to lead you into the next general election next year?
I've got full faith in Rishi Sunak as the Prime Minister. I back him to the hilt. I think he's getting on and delivering on the people's priorities. Okay. And there are 2 days left in this by-election campaign, and we're not going to prejudge any results. Finally,
are you going on holiday this summer?
I'm going to visit my in-laws who live in Stockholm.
Stockholm. You're not worried about the heat wave then in southern Europe?
Well, hopefully not, no.
OK, all right then. Great to talk to you, Andrew Bowie, Nuclear and Network Minister. Thank you very much.